And guys, got another one here. Probably couldn't tell much from that side over there, but it's a 56. It's a non-Bel Air car. It's just a regular 56 post. But the car's kind of neat. Somebody had put some bucket seats back in, I'm sure, the 70s or 80s in it. Somebody had tried to patch the floor. The car is actually pretty daggum solid. They had actually put like a fiberglass mat down and fiberglassed it, and it had carpet, and I just tore all that carpet out of there just to show people might be interested in it. Hey, it does need some floor work, but I mean, it's a pretty solid old car. The car was a straight shift at one time, then it became an automatic. From the factory it was a straight shift. It's got the little pedal, but the stern column's kind of unique. They took a stern column out of a Cadillac and retrofitted it in there, and it actually works. Everything's hooked up. It's really tight. It's a tilt and telescopic stern column, so it's actually pretty. If anybody's ever drove one of these cars, the stern columns really do suck in them. And this car, actually got to drive it. It has no motor and transmission, so when I say drive it, I was towed behind a tractor to get it over there to the trailer for me to winch it up on here. But the car still rolls, and of course has 0 brakes. But the car's kind of pretty complete for what it is. The car at one time looks like it had a big block in it, because you can see where the exhaust manifold gaskets or the header gaskets are still under the hood. And the headers that came with the car, they're small block. And I know you're saying, here's a power steering pump. Yep. They put a power steering box on it. There's the power steering for it. Here's the motor mounts, which I know those are like a clamshell, not really clamshell, but the older style motor mounts, because somebody back in the day made the mounts and took the pedestal mounts off the front of the car and made those mount stands, in which they're bolted to the frame. They're not all just welded up. As you can see, it's power steering. They put a power windshield wiper motor. The cow's never been cut in the front. Like I said, the car is really solid, but you can see right there, they put a cross member under it, and the drive shaft's still under it as well too. So everything is still hooked up. It wouldn't take much to get the thing as like a little rat rod, or just to beat it around and have fun with it. The car, the frame is super solid on it. It's just surface rust, but there's no holes in the frame. Here's a really neat old car. Like I said, the drive shaft's still under there. I want to say the last transmission it had in it would have been of automatic, but all the frame rails, the bumper, the bumper ears, the frame ears, they're all, in good shape. They're not all bent up and tore up like most of them usually are by now. The same on this side. Somebody put fiberglass patch panel on there. But yeah, this is a neat stern column. Like I said, if you take this knob, turn it this way, of course your stern wheel will go in and out, kind of like a Corvette or Cadillac had that. But all the tilt works in it. They hooked it up. I mean, it actually is not bad the way they did it. It doesn't look just terrible by any means. But they fiberglassed the side of the column where it would have been an automatic shift on it right here. So they fiberglassed that where you can't see where the shifter knob was. But it's not a bad old car. Once again, it is going to be for sale. I'm just cleaning it up today and, well, vacuuming it. We washed it yesterday. But I do have both of the motor mounts for it. Those would work for a big block or a small block. The gas tank door, I want to say it was still functioning. Now, I want to say I opened it at one time. Maybe not. Maybe that was a different one. Huh. Flip down. Okay. Yeah. Okay. As you can tell, that's where looks like that hasn't been fooled with in years. But of course, your gas tank on a 56 and a 57 is in the tail light, where on a 55 will be in your quarter panel right here. But yeah, that was kind of neat ideas, but it does still function. But it's just a neat old car. It's basically the twin to that 56 right there. That one was a factory Bel Air car, where this one was just a plain Jane, 56 Chevy, it would have been, I guess it would have been a 210, I do believe. But it was from the factory a 6-cylinder car, and so it didn't really hurt anything of the value of them, putting the V8, in which everything's still there. You could still take it back, you could unbolt those mounts, but I don't know why you would ever want to. But you definitely could replace and put it back as a factory car and have the front mounts, but it'd just be so much easier to get motors and motor mounts and stuff and accessories and everything, instead of running straight off the front of the motor like the original ones were bolted up to. But I do have the headers that was in the car. Like I said, it did have a big block in it at one time, but then they put a small block in it, and the headers for the small block, and they're kind of neat, but they'll go around the motor mounts. So they're kind of similar to the headers on that car, but that car still has the front mounts, and it still got the 265 in it. But I've got a bunch of small block stuff, and I could put a small block in it pretty easily, and a transmission, and I could hodgepodge some shit together and get the car back on the road. But I would rather somebody actually get the car, because I'm just not a big fan of a 56 Chevy. If it was a 55 in this good a shape, yeah, I'd keep it. Or I would at least get it running and sell it to somebody, versus the 56. My two favorite are basically a 55 and a 58. The 57s I never really cared about, and I never really liked the 56 either. But this one's a really decent car to build, or just use as it is. Like I said, the frame's not bad, it's just surface rust on it. It's just a really solid old car, and it's not been beat on or wrecked, because 9 times out of 10 you're going to have one of those frame arms or frame horns that bent either left or right, where it took a header off of something and it bent the front end, and somebody's welded one on, because it is a 1956 car, so they are old. But it is a really neat old car. I'm saying within, put a gas tank under it, put some brakes on it, throw an old engine and transmission off in it. Heck, you could have a driver in, a week or so, like literally, if you had the time just to tinker on it, and yeah, you could have you a driver in about a week of fooling around with it. And somebody had a small block 350, or hell, any small block turbo 350 transmission. You already got a drive shaft. Like I said, you got seats. You're not Fred Flintstoning through the floorboard by any means. It's pretty damn solid. The trunk is the same way. I actually crawled through the trunk to get some of the parts out of it, and I don't have a key, and I don't want to mess up the latch right there as far as drilling that out. So kind of one of those things where the next owner, they want to take it and to a locksmith and get the key cut, hey, go for it. But I'm not drilling that out. They want to look at the trunk, they can do what I did and crawl through the back seat. So there's a couple other little panels go under the hood, but they're actually complete under there. It was just extras, and they're not rusted out. There's the passenger side motor mount and a horn. This trim was missing. I don't know what that piece of trim, I don't even think that trim goes for this car. I think it was just in there. But this car would be really cool if you just welded up the trim holes. I like them without the trim on, to be honest with you. But the roof is in really good shape. I mean, it's just not rusted out. I mean, it's got rust, don't get me wrong, but it was a Southern car all its life. It was an Alabama car. Everything it needs can be bought. You know, I mean, every little piece that's messed up on it, you can find. They repop it, or heck, this fender, it's got some rust at the bottom, but I mean, it wouldn't be nothing to fix that fender. That fender is actually in pretty good shape. It's just not a terrible car. This door actually closes. It's just, I had it open. But yeah, if somebody one of them old 56, the only glass I think that is half-ass decent on it is that back glass. The rest of the glasses either A, have a hairline crack all the way through them, like that one and that one. But me and Caleb was talking about it yesterday, and I think he priced them for his car, and I think every bit of glass, all brand new, can be bought for like $700. And but this car has been sitting, shoot, probably, I know of over 20 some odd years that I've known of the car sitting there. So it's probably been close to 30 that it's been actually sitting. I remember seeing the car in the very, very, very early 2000s, like 2001, 2, something like that, when I seen the car. And it really hasn't changed much. It was, of course, covered in moss and mold and stuff, and but I just not that this car would have ever been crushed by any means, but I just hated to keep on seeing it sit there. So of course I purchased it, and plan on selling it. I threw those wheels on there. They were just spare wheels I had laying around. The car actually didn't have any wheels and tires on it, so we threw those on there. Like I said, it rolls really good. I mean, brakes wasn't locked up on it. I was actually very shocked, and the steering column didn't pop or make any weird noises. The front end didn't. Just saying, and like I said, a week you could throw a small block transmission, put your accessories on there, have power steering. You know, you'd have you a neat little 56 Chevy to cruise around in. These little stuff, you know, fender bolted back up at the bottom, just a little cinching up. But it's a a really cool old car. But it is definitely for sale, and if anybody needs my number, I'll give it to you at 706-590-5288. And the car is definitely for sale, and I am located in Lynette, Alabama. So somebody wants to come take a look at it, or wants another video of it, up under it, or whatever the case may be, I don't mind. I mean, it's not a terrible car. It's a very, very fixable car. But I've seen a lot worse get restored, and I've owned a lot worse. I've sold those 55s. It was last year, and I sold both of them. And this car is way better than either one of those cars would ever be. And and it would be either a great drag car, or a beater car, or hell, you could, completely restore it. It's whatever the budget you got, you could do with this car, because it's not gone by any means. But it's not terrible. But like always, hope y'all like and subscribe. But I don't know if I'm gonna make any more videos on this unless somebody wants me to, wants to see something on it. But hopefully I'm gonna post it today on Marketplace, but hopefully it's gone pretty soon. I don't think I'm gonna keep this car very long, because I'm pretty sure somebody's gonna wanna go on and snatch it up. Because if you're looking for a 56 and you're able to work and fix on one, this is probably your car. Because frame's perfect, the body's not that bad. I mean, it's very buildable. So I've gone to car shows and swap meets and seen worser cars than this, in worse shape, driving, and people enjoying them and having fun, because a lot of people just don't have that, hell, $70,000 to $80,000 budget to try to build one of these cars. I mean, you get this car, hell, have it running and driving and having fun in it for well under, 10 grand, as far as that's all in, driving the car. I mean, well under 10 grand. So it's one of those things. That's just something to think about if somebody's trying to get into hot rodding or old cars or anything like that. They're out there and they can be bought, and you don't have to have a $100,000 build. I mean, you can have just as much fun in that car, and you can go to, any kind of service station, hell, a grocery store, anywhere. You drive this car anywhere, and you're immediately going to have people talk to you about it. And if you don't like, conversating with people, and it's probably don't want to get into hot rodding and old cars, because that old raggedy wagon of mine down there, I can drive that car into town and, oh my gosh, what is that thing? Hey, a 5-minute, store run, you're there 45 minutes talking to somebody. But it just is what it is. And if, like I said, if you don't like talking to people, you probably don't want to get into car hobbies. But this would be a very buildable car for somebody. And like I said, it could be done with a very small budget. I mean, I understand $10,000 is, a good amount of money these days too, but it's one of those things where you're just about not going to find them much cheaper than that. But I'm going to get off of here and get this thing unloaded and get some pictures of it on the ground. And but until I make another one, guys, y'all be safe out there. And hell, if anybody's interested, y'all got my number. Give me a call. See y'all.